And there I was, welcoming you to the temple. And saying, finally, this week, actually make some comments.
Doing your friend's ex.
I don't really think that it is acceptable for you to. I mean, if it's just somebody that your friend knows, go for it. But if it's somebody your friend has been with, especially a close friend or best friend, I don't think you should be crossing that bridge. That's not fabric you need to get involved with. Now here comes this whore to tell you why you should.
No, I actually agree, but let's just bend the rules here for a second. Sometimes you gotta cross swords. Like, let's say, for instance, Jay-Z and Beyonce get divorced. You got Jay-Z's best friend, whoever that is, Memphis Bleak. Let's just say, I know you don't know who it is, but... And Beyonce comes on to you. You forget how close you were with your friend. How close you are with this friend is dependent on how good looking their ex is. Because a good looking ex will make you change your whole life, change your religion, change your acquaintances. So at the end of the day, sometimes swords have to cross, unless it's my ex. The thing about it is, boys like the front. Like, you might actually be respectful and be like, look, I kind of like your ex. Can I go there? And he'd be like, yeah, that's old news, yes? Look, do what you gotta do. And then secretly, you go with the ex and you're holding hands and loving life and they're like... And then all of a sudden they catch feelings and they loved her and it's... So it's a bit of a... But generally, you're not supposed to do your exes. Oops. That came out wrong, boy, but the truth comes out. You're not supposed to do your exes, and you're not supposed to do your friends' exes. I saved myself.
I'm kind of in there with this revisiting this rule because it's 2013 and that's an old ass rule. And I think people in general date so much more girls. There's gonna be so many more girls that you can't go there with. Yeah, I think we'd benefit from a revision of this rule. Like maybe there's a certain time frame for which you're not allowed to trouble these women, but then after that point, maybe you can.
But do you really want to be up inside someone
I've got.
that your friend has already been inside?
Yes.
Yeah. Quite frankly, yeah, you done.
Listen, do a shower? Yes.
So the truth is, it doesn't matter who the girl is. Whenever I approach a girl and I'm thinking, yeah, I want the dashery or I want a relationship or whatever, my mind is not focused on what she has done. Everybody has a past. So if I'm looking at this girl, I'm thinking to myself, well, as she is now, this is who she is, and I'm attracted to her. The way things are at the minute is you just know, blanket approach, you can't go there because your friend's gone there 2 years ago, 2 days ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But maybe they weren't suited in the first place. Maybe you and that girl could have always worked it out, and maybe their relationship would have never worked regardless of when. So is it always worth just having that very simple blanket approach?
First of all, if you're my friend and you like my ex, you probably should leave her alone because you know she's my ex. She's done everything. She's done things, unspeakable things. You just know that. I'm cool with it. Like right now, I'm in a relationship. You guys can go out of my ugly exes, it's fine. But just know everything. But when I look at it, it could be like this. I could have been going out with a girl that I really didn't want to go out with, but I was bored. And then you might fall for her and really like her. Like, yeah, then I think you have to just check. Just check. But like, look, remember that girl you was with? How serious? And it's up to them to be honest with you. If they pretend like, oh no, it was nothing, but it was something, then that's their problem. As long as you give that little phone call, like, look, can I? Because I remember there was... Oh, I should have been here. That's what I do. I said, can I
take this dish?
I called up my boy. I was like, can I butter? Can I butter in here? And I had a girl come over who was a mutual friend, and I know that this girl kind of liked my friend. I wasn't trying to get with her. So I asked him, do you like her? Is there any possibility? And he was like, no. I was like, can I get something? He was like, you go right ahead. And that's how you do it. I got what I got. He didn't care. But if you liked her, I would have held back, because that's the bro code, isn't it?
If I was a preacher.
If I was a preacher, my choir would be turned up.
If I was a preacher, I'd get Puff Daddy to hand out the service notes. Take that, take that.
If I was a preacher, I'd absolve Rivka's face of its sins.
If I was a preacher, I'd slip in verses from the Quran and see if anyone noticed.
If I was a preacher, I'd exorcise the ugly out of Rivka. Power of Christ compels you.
If Jack was a preacher, I'd explain to him that does not make him an exorcist.
If I was a preacher, I'd pray for Miley Cyrus, for she knows not what she do. I mean, what she does.
You fell for it. When you try and say something bad against Miley, that's what happens, man.
If I was a preacher, I'd read verses from the Bible in different accents to spice things up. And there I was, looking at baby Jesus in the cradle, and he had beside him a pretty lady.
If I was a preacher, my sermons would look like Cirque du Soleil.
If I was a preacher, I'd get Puff Daddy and Mace to remix my psalms. Take that, take that, take that.
If I was a preacher, I'd podcast masses about Sunday service in the winter. Are you crazy? It's cold out here. You can catch me online, buddy.
If I was a preacher, I would recognize that sometimes people just want to go home. So just before the end of the mass, I'd get Puff Daddy to come out and say, I thought I told you that, we won't stop. I thought I told you that.
If I was a preacher, wait a minute, what we're talking about? I am a preacher. I'm Reverend Jack Zulu.
We're sitting in confession, and I'm the preacher, but I'm confessing to you. That's what type of church I'll be run. I'll have to get things off my chest.
What?
On a Sunday morning. I don't think you understand. I pray for my exes. What would I do if I was a preacher? I'd be doing a lot of stuff I can't say on camera. I can't go to churches now because holy water burns around me. I don't know if I could be a preacher. That's my answer to this question.
Remembrance Day. Remember.
Charlene White has recently been the victim of sexist and racial abuse. Abused.
Man, get bad abused out here, boy.
I'm getting abused.
Abusive.
Don't be abused to me.
Don't be abusive. Charlene White has recently been the victim of sexist and racial. It's not funny, but I was trying not to say abused. Charlene White has recently been the victim of sexist and racist abuse. Charlene White, news reporter for ITV, has recently been the victim of sexist and racist abuse, all because she chose to not wear a poppy on Remembrance Day.
I can't remember exactly how you finished though.
I just said that all because she chose not to wear a
Should
poppy.
not do a pom-pom. Right, so yeah, you said pom-pom, didn't it? Maybe you said pom-pom, maybe that's why I said it.
I said poppy that time.
Oh. Well, sure. All because she chose not to wear a pom-pom. Poppy. I can't stop saying it.
What is wrong with
I don't know. I keep thinking of saying poppy. Right, so Charlene goes on to explain exactly why she's not wearing a poppy on ITV's website, and I think her argument is fair. It's basically that she doesn't want to give any one charity more airtime than another. If you want to read more about that, click the link below and, you know, read the whole thing. But what this has made more apparent to us is this internet racism theme that sort of just skyrocketed, where people feel so open and free to just be racist on the internet.
Charlene White. More like Charlene Black, am I right? You know what I mean? No, for once I agree with first of all, where else can you be racist? The internet is the perfect place to be racist, because you can be racist in the comfort of your own home. In fact, sometimes if you see on Facebook, you see a racist comment and you click the profile, it seems like family guys with their kids, and like they might say like go back to your own country, you're a dirty N-word, blah blah blah. But then you see like pushing the swing of their kids and look at all wholesome. Racists are people too. And okay, she didn't want to wear a poppy because it's not popping in the hood right now. But look, you could have worn a ribbon when you... Yo man, you want to get it popping and you wear that poppy, do you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the problem? What's the problem? It's November, it's time to bust out that poppy. And she mentioned wearing the pink ribbon.
Yeah.
She gives to all these charities, then why can't you wear their different emblems? I think that's the right word. When necessary during the year, wear a poppy, what's the problem? I mean, I'm sitting here judging her when I didn't buy a poppy. But you guys didn't know that until I opened my mouth because I'm stupid. But I have noticed in the last 12 months that people are way more openly racist than they used to be. I mean, I'm someone who subscribed to BMP and EDL online just to see what they're up to. And it's quite funny because she has been told to go back to her own country, blah, 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 blah. But she speaks better English than half of these racist English people, which is kind of like, what's your argument? And I was going to come in here and be ignorant, but when I read her response, yeah, I mean, she kind of schooled everybody, to be honest, so... Go back to Africa.
I'm gonna go back to the initial proposed issue. These people were complaining that she chose to not wear a poppy. Who are you to tell this woman, this full-grown woman, that she should be wearing a poppy? I bet half the people that said this nonsense, they didn't have a poppy themselves. They had no intention of getting a poppy. They didn't know it was 11/11 until the news came on.
I don't even think it's fair to say that these people are being racist anonymously, because some people sent her abuse over Twitter, but a lot came from Facebook as well, accounts where people have their whole family, you know, history for the past 3 or 4 years, all uploaded on there with a million pictures and information about where they work, etc. I think people have just gotten far too comfortable and too ignorant with their use on the internet. I mean, I'm aware I do it, but I do it in jest. I would join in and say, yeah, you should go back to Africa. I mean, I didn't wear a poppy. I didn't wear a poppy because I didn't remember. But
We all agreed that racism is hilarious. It is, sorry. But let's just be real for a second. The racist English people right now talking about, you know, you're not wearing a poppy, go back to Africa, blah, blah, blah. They don't realize how many colonies fought for Great Britain in the World Wars anyway. Like Asians, blacks, it's ridiculous. So if she was to be disrespecting Great Britain, she's also disrespecting her heritage because probably some of her ancestors fought in those wars. Let's just be real about it.
I have never worn a poppy. Tell me something.
Go back to Africa.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been nice. It's been nice knowing you. Time to go back on that boat.
You need to go back.
Time to go back, brother.
Allo with a wing, with a wing, with a wing, with a wing. Oh na na yeah. Oh na na yeah. Oh na na yeah.
I think the big learn is that even though it's 2013, we feel like we've come so far, racism still exists, and so does that level of ignorance that people possess, and they're still going to say some dumb ass things. I'm not expecting people to not be racist. Everyone needs to just realize what they're doing when they're on the internet.
And this week's sacrifice, Alicia Keys. Again.
So this week's sacrifice is Alicia Keys. Again, I'm sure you are all aware of The Princess and the Frog. Several of our stars were in line to play the role of the princess. Beyonce was one such star. But Beyonce didn't get the part because she refused to audition. Audition? Ha! What's that? Alicia Keys, on the other hand, she auditioned 3 times, still didn't get the part. I think what happened is they saw the haircut. Nah. We're not gonna have a Disney princess walking around looking like a used cotton bud. It's not going to happen. Bye bye, Alicia. That girl was on fire, innit?
Alicia. Had to say your name 3 times. You know what, yeah, we should dig her up next week and sacrifice her for the 3rd time, because that's our lucky number. 3 musketeers. 3. That's the magic number. What else comes in 3s?
Temple.
3. In your next video, I'll be like,
Technically that's 6.
666. If I was a preacher. Basically, for Beyonce not showing up to an audition being like, I'm too good for that, and Alicia Keys showing up 3 times, it shows the levels that we're at. So Beyonce is at least 3 times more valuable than Alicia Keys. They probably looked at Alicia Keys and thought, you're already married to a frog. Oh! Just be free to do what you want to do. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's the truth though. That is the absolute truth. They should have just given Alicia Keys the part. They should have took one look at Swizz Beatz and thought, oh damn. Yep, she already knows about being a princess with the frog. Look at that. Look at that. What is it?
Man, it must have been tough for Alicia Keys. All I can think is, you know how Hollywood works. Everybody knows each other. So she most probably knew the guy who was doing the auditions and said to him, how come you don't call me?
So as you know, Eminem dropped the Marshall Mathers 2 album, and Alicia Keys is coming out with a new album, so songs in A minor 3.
In the end, the role went to Annika Nori Rose. Who? Exactly. Alicia Keys auditioned 3 times, didn't get it. They gave it to this woman. How badly did Alicia do?
Free mix!
So Alicia auditioned 3 times, but they just didn't see her worth.
So I think what must have happened was she auditioned once and they were unsure. She auditioned twice, still unsure. The third time was the time where they were gonna, you know, let her know what was going wrong. And the auditioner said, I'm not feeling it. Said, no one can get in the way of what I'm feeling for you.
Now I know what happened. They invited Alicia down, and then this woman turned up looking like this, and they're like, who is that?
You mean she turned up like this?
This is further proof, though, that everything has gone downhill for Alicia Keys since she got involved with Swiss Beats. Biggest mistake ever.
Alicia turned up to the auditions and they were like, alright Alicia, we want to try you for a few different roles, not just the princess, maybe the frog as well. So we're just going to get a few costumes ready and then we'll let you roll. So she puts on, you know, the dress for the princess and they're like, okay, it was okay, we'll try you as the frog. So she took off the dress and she was like, where's the costume? And they're like, no, you can do it just like that. And she was like, what? As I am.
And they were like, yeah, because you can do it like no one. She went in there but got sent out like they'll never see her again.
Ah, that's no one.
She went home that night, she wrote all in her diary.
The third occasion, when she was auditioning, right at the end, although it wasn't scripted, she just started crying. The guy said, why are you crying? She said, tears always win.
So can I have sex with your exes?
Would you want to? I mean, really? Have you seen my exes? Like Animal Farm. Like, look, I don't know. It looks like Halloween was over, and then like the next day I saw an ex, and I was like it's an all year thing for you. Like, is this that serious? I mean, my ex is trick or treat in December. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's celebrating Christmas, like trick or treat. Like, my exes all gain weight after we break up, and I call them the fatter days, like the Saturdays, but just fatter. My exes look like Rivka. Remember Rivka? Remember? They take sledgehammers to the face. My exes look like they've been bricked and stabbed for their GTA. My exes, oh my god. My exes look like trees. Just the bark bit. Like bark with faces.
This is gonna be the last.
My exes look like they bark.
This is gonna be the last time you appear on.
They look like they bark. They look like they're all living barking. That's how serious.